प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपक्षाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेषवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
टैप बंद कर।
ठीक है, just go.
The small one is more stable.
No, that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Is that way I can?
Yeah.
People at the back can hear? Yes. Yeah, this is good. If I dipping, like this, please make sure you call out, hold the microphone. Yes, or Hari Bol. So, 2 days in a row of the appearance days of the Lord. Yesterday was such a beautiful appearance day, Lord Varahadev, and today is the appearance day of our most beloved, Sri Nityananda Ram. I'm actually so captivated by this picture that I don't want to move forward. Seriously, like look at this. Isn't this? Yeah, this is beautiful. Who dressed? Oh yeah, Damodar. He's right there. Right. But we must move forward because yes, this is a glorification of the Lord, but we also want to glorify Him in words. So we know that Krishna comes again and again in every yuga, right? And we know the reason. He tells us himself, Paritranaya sadhana vinashaya cha dushkrita dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Right? The scriptures establish Sri Krishna as the original form of Godhead. And today I'm not going to dwell on how Krishna is the supreme and from him come all the avatars, all the incarnations, all the forms of God that we see. And Krishna says in Gita, he tells Arjuna, I appear to deliver the pious, right? Those who worship him, those who serve him with love, and to annihilate the miscreants, because this world is always full of dualities. The good people, the people who just want to peacefully worship the Lord are always harassed by one thing or the other, or one person or the other. And when extreme, Krishna comes, appear millennium after millennium. So he doesn't just come once, but he comes again and again. And Bhagavatam describes how the forms of the Lord are unlimited. They are like the ocean, the waves of the ocean. No one can count the waves of the ocean. And he comes in all kinds of species, which frankly boggles the mind, but we accept it on authority of the highest scriptures, right? And yesterday, as I mentioned, was the appearance of Lord Varahadev. He's the form of the Lord who uplifts. He came to lift the earth up from the nethermost regions of the universe. He had been pushed by the demon Hiranyaksha, and he came to uplift the earth. So similarly, Lord Varahadev's specific purpose of appearing, the external reason of uplifting the earth and putting her back in her regular position of the orbit, but the reason the devotees take this from that appearance, that he comes to uplift us and our consciousness. And I always find it very interesting that Lord Varaha appears to uplift our consciousness, and the next day, Lord Nityananda appears to connect us to the Supreme. So let's dive into that a little bit. So, little sidebar before we get into Nityananda Tattva or Nityananda Katha. Krishna and his expansions. So you see there are two arrows, one is red and one is blue, but please don't read any meaning into the red and blue. They're just two different colors that I chose. Maybe I could have chosen different colors in today's America, right? Blue and red. So this is Krishna in the center, and you have Radharani as his first expansion, it's described. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela describes that Radha and Krishna are one. Yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes, right? Because Krishna is completely full in himself, he's Atmaram, but to increase his enjoyment, he expands so that he can exchange reciprocations. But he doesn't stop there. He also expands as Balaram. And Srila Prabhupada again and again would stress this, and Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 5, which is the seventh chapter on Lord Nityananda Tattva. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says these two, Krishna and Balaram, are one and the same identity. They differ only in form. Lord Balaram is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists in Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. So because we only have a few minutes today, I'm going to touch very briefly on Krishna's expansions in summary. One thing that I do want to leave you with as a thought is that these expansions, we think of, like we hear from Krishna that the soul is eternal, he's eternal, never was there a time when you didn't exist, nor I, right? Nor all these kings. So we think in terms of past, present, and future, correct? Right? Because that's how material life is. Material time is always divided into today's world, yesterday's world, tomorrow's world. But in the spiritual world, there is no such concept of time. When we say first expansion, doesn't mean that there was a time when Radharani didn't exist and only Krishna existed, or Balaram didn't exist and only Krishna existed. It frankly is beyond my grasp of explanation to explain how this is. This is part of Krishna's Achintya Shakti. We hear from the great souls and from Krishna himself that this is, these are the words that used that, okay, Krishna, first there was Krishna and then he expanded into Radharani and Balaram. It's because our brains can't grasp the concept of simultaneously he was always existing in the forms of Krishna and Radha and Krishna. But we think in chronological terms, so I just wanted to clear the point up. Yeah. So Lord Balaram in Vrindavan is Krishna's first expansion, right? In Dwarka and Mathura, so Balaram and Krishna never leave Vrindavan, right? But there is Dwarka and Mathura and there is Krishna there and there too. So in Dwarka and Mathura, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami describes that Balaramji expands as Moola or original Sankarshan. Right? In Vaikuntha, because there are unlimited Vaikuntha planets, Balaramji expands as Maha Sankarshan. Right? So Moola Sankarshan, original Maha Sankarshan. And then from these Sankarshans come the three Vishnus. The first one is the Karadakshai Vishnu, the cause of all causes, origin of all the material universes. How powerful is Karadakshai Vishnu? I was listening to a class by my spiritual master, Radhanath Swami, on the way here, and he was explaining, he said, Karadakshai Vishnu is so vast, he's called Mahavishnu also, yeah? He's so powerful that he's just lying in slumber, sleeping, and through his exhalation process, trillions and billions and quadrillions of universes are coming out of his pores. Universes, not little planets, not jivas, universe with gigantic creations, right? And then my guru, she likes to make people laugh, so he said, what have you created in your sleep, he said. And I said, yes, what have I created even in my non-sleep, right? It's very humbling when you think about it. And yet this Mahavishnu, Karanadaksha, is an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of Balaramji. It is the first expansion of Krishna, but Chaitanya Charitamrita says that he's non-different from Krishna, and yet he's different, right? So then you have Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who's the shelter of each material universe, right? And you have Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who enters into every atom and the heart of each living entity as Paramatma, as Super Soul. And then you have a partial expansion, Shesha or Ananta, right? Ananta is unlimited. And Shesha means remaining, in one sense, right? But it's not remaining in that sense. Shesha is so vast that upon his hoods, his multifarious hoods, all the universes with these gigantic planets and gigantic planetary systems, they are floating on top of his hoods, and they are as tiny as mustard seeds, and he doesn't even feel them, because his only joy and function is to glorify Krishna. That's what Ananta does. And he's so unlimited, and Krishna is so unlimited that Anashesha, with his millions and billions of mouths, he's constantly glorifying since time immemorial, and he still cannot even touch the end of Krishna's paradise, right? it's important for us before we hear some of the leelas of, especially incarnation or appearance like Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga, to realize who we are dealing with, right? And who these personalities are. Balaram in Vrindavan, we hear that he's supremely powerful. I mean, origin of all these great, right, incarnations. Balaram in Vrindavan, Krishna had gone to negotiate with the Kauravas, and they disrespected him. And Balaram got so mad, he struck the ground with his plow, and he separated the entire kingdom of Hastinapur from the moorings that it was moored on, and he was dragging it to throw it into the river. And then all the Kauravas, gigantic warriors, who it's described, each of these warriors, each of their arms had the strength of like 10,000 elephants, right? They all came and fell down before Balaram, and they were like pleading, please, Balaramji, we were, actually just joking. We wanted what you're capable of, and we wanted to see this beautiful display of power. So we didn't mean it, so don't be upset. And then Balaramji said, all right, because he's easily pacified, he's very merciful, right? But that's Balaramji. And it's important when we get to Nityananda to remember the power and the awesomeness Balaramji before we realize who Lord Nityananda is and what his mercy is. So, in Kali Yuga, Krishna has his own devotee. This is the famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Krisha Akrishnam Sang Pangostra Parkharshadam Yaj Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, it's the age we are in, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead. Who is that incarnation? Lord Chaitanya, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, see the first line, Tvisha Akrishnam, right? He is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So in Kali Yuga, we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, right, that Krishna comes as Lord Gauranga, and he comes with his associates. He doesn't come alone. He comes in 5 forms, and these are all Godhead. Panchatattva Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktakaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Let me offer my obeisances, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, unto Lord Shri Krishna manifested himself in 5 forms. Bhakta Rupa as a devotee, Lord Tanya. Bhakta Swarupakam, that's today's incarnation, as an extension of a devotee, Nityananda. Bhakta Avataram, in the incarnation of a devotee, Vaitacharya. Bhaktakyam, pure devotee, Srivas Pandit. And Bhakta Shaktikam, devotional energy, Gadadhar Pandit. And now our most beautiful lords, dressed by our own Damodar, the 2 lords Nityananda and Chaitanya. What does Kaviraj Goswami sing? Shri Chaitanya Sri Krishna Nityananda Ram Nityananda Purna Kare Chaitanya Rakam. This is Adi Leela 5.6. Lord Chaitanya is the same Lord Krishna, and Lord Nityananda is Lord Ram. Lord Nityananda fulfills all of Lord Chaitanya's desire. One question someone might say, well, all this is very good. Why did they not come as Godhead? Right? In every yuga they come, Lord Varadev, you can't mistake Lord Varadev for an ordinary entity. Right? And it's like, whoa, who is this personality? Right? Anyone else, Krishna appears, right? The king kills demons right before lunch, and and then it generates his appetite, and then he has nice prasad with his cowherd friends, right? Why did Chaitanya and Nityananda not come as Godhead in this age, right? And again, we don't speculate. We listen to what the Shastra and the Acharyas tell us. And what the Shastra tells us, this is Srila Prabhupada's purport, Leela 6.28. If Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Prabhu had exhibited their all-powerful Vishnu potencies within this material world, people would have become greater impersonalists, I am God, monists, right, and self-worshippers than they had already become under the spell of the age. Therefore, the personality of Godhead and his different incarnations and forms played the parts of devotees to instruct the conditioned souls how to approach the transcendental stage of devotional service. That's why they didn't come as Godhead in this age. This question, I used to have this question, why didn't they come as God? They're God, right? So now we come to Nitai, the supreme guide and actor. There's so much. I probably have like 5 or 10 minutes left, so I'm going to hit directly on this without going into his birth, I mean his appearance and where did he grow up and so on and so forth. I wanted to talk about how Lord Nityananda is the guide and the connector for some of the most important acharyas or teachers in our lineage and therefore to us, right? If you think about, you want to serve someone, right? Say I want to serve you,
Harinam.
right? Harinam Prabhu. I would, I can ask around, I can ask Madan Gopal, I can ask Anandrupa, right? I can ask different people, I can ask your wife. But what if I came to you and said, hey Prabhu, what do you want, right? And you're like, yeah, this is what I want. I would like this, this, and this. And boom, I can do it, right? So similarly, who can tell us how to serve Krishna best other than Krishna himself? But Krishna is busy with his, Mahaprabhu, he's busy, there's 3 internal and 3 external reasons why he came. So he's busy with his own pastimes, and therefore that same expands as Balaram. And Balaram, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's actually the same Supreme Enjoyer as Krishna, for eternity, he takes the position of Supreme Service, Supreme Servitorship, right? And therefore Balaram and Nityananda, we heard and we said many, many more verses that I didn't talk about, which about how Nityananda is the same Balaram. He's not an incarnation, he's the same Balaram who's appeared in the Yuga, right? And so, in one of the verses we did see, what we saw was that Nityananda knows how to best fulfill Mahaprabhu's desires, right? And therefore, Nityananda in one sense is not different from Chaitanya, but yet he's a different personality. And so Nityananda's purpose in appearing was to connect us to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And that's why he came. And how he did this, and we've heard these Leela Kathas, and it's overwhelming when we think of what Balaramji is, and then he appears as Nityananda, and he's going door to door begging, because Mahaprabhu has asked him, like, share this message of Godhead with everyone and give pure bhakti, the bhakti that only is given to Brajabasis, only the Vrindavanvasis, this bhakti. Give this bhakti to everyone, right? Give it to the drunkards, give it to the woman hunters, or manhunters, give it to people who eat all kinds of abominable things, right? Normally, if you know Vrindavan, it's impossible to approach Krishna without being completely pure. And I don't know about you all, when I hear statements like that, I feel very discouraged, because I'm like, my God, my heart is like an ocean of like faults and black stuff, gunk that's in there. So how am I ever going to get Braja Bhakti? And therefore in Kali Yuga, Mahaprabhu comes along with Nityananda, and he orders Nityananda, please go look for these candidates. Mahaprabhu preached to all the higher class people. You hear about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, right? All these very big, very learned souls. And he told Nityananda, go find recipients of mercy of Braja Bhakti, right? And Nityananda, he's always drunk, it's described. What is he drunk on? Not on alcohol. He's drunk on love for Mahaprabhu, right? And if you've ever seen people who are drunk, like now I serve at the Bhakti Center, and the Bhakti Center is right around, it's in the East Village, and there are bars and nightclubs right around that. So, you come from Vrindavan, which is the Bhakti Center, and then you come out, it's like, whoa, right? There's people like staggering around on Thursday night or, on a week, and then you're smelling the alcohol and they're yelling and their clothes are off and, things like that, right? So drunk people, so I've had lots of chances to observe drunk people is what I'm getting at. So drunk people, they're not really in possession of their senses, of their faculties. So if someone is completely drunk, they will say, here, please take my wallet. And they don't even know you, right? They're giving you their wallet. Here's my car keys. I just bought a new BMW. Here, please, take this, right? Say everything because they're totally drunk. Nityananda is the same. Nityananda is drunk not on alcohol or intoxicants. He's drunk on love for Krishna. And he's so intoxicated that he wants to just give it away. And his boss, so to speak, right, his master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has ordered him, please share this mercy liberally. And so the same Nityananda, who as Balaram was threatening to destroy Hastinapur and throw it into the river, and he had so much power. Romaharshan Suta, for a little offense, right? He was speaking Bhagavatam. Balaramji walked into the assembly of sages. Romaharshan said, "Hey, I thought I'm speaking Bhagavatam, so yes, no, it's Balaram," but he didn't get up. And Balaramji wanted to teach a lesson, right? Not out of ego, but to establish the etiquette. What is the right etiquette? Someone senior and exalted like that comes in, the speaker must get up. It doesn't matter he or she is speaking on Bhagavatam, right? At least offer respects. So to demonstrate that, to show that lesson, Balaramji just took a blade of kusha grass, smashed it to Romaharshan's heart, and boom, it exploded and he died on the spot. And so this same Balaram is going door to door and saying, please, bhajo Krishna, right? Worship Krishna, right? Chant the name of Krishna. Please just accept this that I'm giving you. And these puffed up idiots, the materialists, who were like at that time, puffed up with their learning and their wealth in Navadvip and rest of Bengal, they would slam the door on him, they would spit on him, right? They would throw things at him, and they would call him disgusting names. And instead of reacting as Balaramji reacted to that little offense, right, Nityananda would roll on the ground and say, do what you want to me. Just take the name of Krishna. Take this process of Krishna consciousness into your life, into your heart. Become completely purified by doing this. It's such a simple process. And his humility and his begging was so touching that these hard-hearted materialists, they would like feel ashamed, like, my God, what have I done? This is such an exalted personality. And they would take to the process of Krishna consciousness. And this is what Nityananda did. But this is for the common people. But for some of the greatest names in our lineage, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Nityananda was the guide who directed them and connected them to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, in chapter 5 of Adi Leela, right, there's an extensive description that Kaviraj Goswami gives. How he was actually, he dreamt, and Nityananda came in his dream and said, please go to Vrindavan and write about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And immediately he got up, and without even tying up his affairs or whatever, telling his family like, okay, I'm going, let me make some arrangements, let me make sure there's prasad on the way, and let me make sure there's people waiting. He just left, right? Because Nityananda directed him. Raghunath Das Goswami, how many times he tried to come and visit Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he couldn't get darshan. And then when he interacted with Nityananda, who is the guide and the guru, the connector, then Nityananda says, I will now introduce you to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you might think, why can I not have a direct connection with God, right? But think about this. There is a saying that if you fly too close to the sun, your wings will get burned, right? And so Krishna is all pure. It's not a joke to say, oh, let me have a direct connection with you, right? Plus, Krishna has established the process of Tadviti Pranipatena Parikrishnena Sevaya, right? So Gita, he tells Arjuna that you can approach the divine only through a spiritual teacher. You cannot approach directly. It's the system he has made, right? You go to, you go buy detergent, you buy it in like Costco or Walmart or whatever, but you say, all this, I don't want this, I want to just go to the factory and buy that. Will they give you? No. You say, I have appointed a system, right, of middlemen. Go buy from them. So same thing, the guru, which is represented by Nityananda or Balaram, the original guru, right, they connect us to Krishna. And they purify us so that, the burning of the wings that apply too close to the sun doesn't happen because of the Guru's mercy. Jiva Goswami, he's described as actually the greatest acharya in our history, right, in our lineage. Jiva Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu directly took him on a parikrama of Navadvip and gave him all kinds of instructions and directions and asked him to go to Vrindavan, join the other Goswamis, and take up this process of writing books, explaining the purports, right? Vrindavan Das Thakur, direct disciple of Nityananda, he wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat, the first authorized biography of Lord Nityananda. And it's described, I love Chaitanya Bhagavat, especially for benedictions, because every chapter is full of like multiple benedictions. He who simply hears pastime will develop pure love for Lord Chaitanya. I'm like, yes, I love this kind of literature. It's not like, you do this, that, like do millions of things and then you get pure love. Just by hearing these things, right, you get pure love. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, Rupa Nathan Goswamis, when they were living in Ramkeli and they wanted to approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who had come there specially to meet with them, right? Who met them first? Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur, right? And Nityananda, okay, let me take you to Lord Chaitanya. And he connected them. So Nitai is the supreme guide and the connector for all of us. Narottam Das Thakur, he appeared after externally Mahaprabhu and Nityananda had left from the planet. But Nitya to Narottam Das Thakur when he was age 12 in his dream. And he said, please go bathe in the Padma river because Mahaprabhu has deposited pure love of God for you, waiting for you there, right? And Narottam Das Thakur got up in the middle of the night and went and bathed in that river. And actually, his parents were trying to prevent him from going to the river. But Nityananda said, no, do it because you've got a mission to fulfill. Right? So their literatures and teachings and bhajans, they form the foundation of the entire philosophy, the Siddhanta of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Everything that we read and we follow. And they form the rock of the teachings of subsequent acharyas, including His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, right? And these literatures, all these great souls who Nityananda directly touched and instructed, they are the basis for the global spread of the Hare Krishna tradition, right? The Hare Krishna movement all over. So I'm going to end very soon. How do we access Nitai's grace? First, we just accept what he came to give. What did he come to give? The prostrating the holy name, right? Following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya, first drink from the ocean of bhakti ourselves, and then Yare Dekha, Hare Kaha, Krishna Upadesh. Share it with everyone, time, place, and circumstance, right? You don't go to your boss and start giving him Chaitanya Charitamrita or Bhagavad Gita, but share about Krishna appropriately. Deal with others to uplift and to give hope. My mentors, Rukmini Devi, Prabhupada disciple, she once said something that really stuck with me. She said, if you cannot say words or do actions that will uplift and inspire another devotee, it's better you to keep your mouth shut. I thought that was a great instruction, right? So we should and give hope and not pull people down. And not thinking oneself independent or above all guidance. I have realized everything. I was born in India, so I don't need anyone to tell me about Krishna. I know everything about Krishna. Right? A lot of people from India tell you that, yeah? Yeah. I know Bhagavad Gita. I teach other people Bhagavad Gita. So yeah. We are not independent, we are not above guidance. The greatest guru is Nityananda himself to set an example, accepted a guru, so we can accept a guru. And the effect of hearing about the Lords, and we'll end here. If one patiently hears about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Prabhu, and their devotees, devotional activities, names, and fame, along with the mellows of their transcendent loving exchanges, we hear about all of this patiently, one will learn the essence of the absolute truth. And that knowledge is what will set us free from this material engagement that we are in. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's not my speculation, and it's Adi Lila. Appropriately, the verse numbers are 8 and 109. Om Tat Sat.
Jai.